Hi, good morning, good evening from Lyon, France. I have music playing down below me. It's very sexy out, it's hot. Welcome to the Christel Crawford Show. I am coming to you live from France, from the floor in my hotel room. Because it's where I have the best light, and I love a good light. So how you doing, guys? My name is Christel Crawford. If I don't know you already, I'm an Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator, and I see you guys. Hi, Aurelia. Hi, Virginie. Hi, Tanya. Oh my God, it's so good to see you guys. I'm so different. Woo! So I miss you already. Hi, Deb. I just finished an energetic synthesis of being class with Dr. Dane here in France. And I have this really sexy French music playing down below me. You know, the only thing about France is that they don't let their bodies have the sex as well as the music. Like, everything in France is sexy. The food is sexy, the music is sexy, the air is sexy. The people forget to let their bodies know it. That's the only thing I have to say about it. So I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna go out later. But I called this week's episode something clever. Let me look, because it was so good. I'm gonna tell you what I called it. I called this week's episode, Are You Hiding Money? Hi, Simon. Are you hiding money with thinking? And this show was inspired by a lot of different things, but it was primarily inspired by some time I got to spend with one of my favorite people this weekend. And we do some coaching together, but she's also just an amazing creator in the world. And we had a really, really cool afternoon where we got to look at something that was going on in her world that was really acting like a tether into this really, really limited reality where she didn't have any choice. And I'm starting a program this week, and it's a money clearing extravaganza, and it's 10 calls, and so it's going to be a really, really, I haven't done it like this before. It's going to be a masterclass with a clearing call and a masterclass with a clearing call, because I get a lot of questions about money, and so I talk about it a lot, and I also like it. So this Are You Hiding Money with Thinking came out of that conversation. And so I kind of want to traipse in and around this a bit, but I want to start with your questions. And then let's see where we go, okay? 4 of you sent in questions. Was it 10? Probably. Let me look today. Let's see if I can find them. Oh, it changed on me. Oh no, hold on. I'm looking at my computer. Give me a second. Hi, Laura, nice to see you. Okay. So, Miss Susie Genera sent in a question about this topic, and she said, congratulations on the 3rd season. Oh, by the way, this is the 3rd season of my show. This is the 3rd year I'm doing this show live every single week, showing up for half an hour. I did not think I'd be able to do it, and here we are in year 3 together. So fucking cheers, you guys, for joining me, for being you, for supporting this. Hi, Paula. Hi, Laura. Okay, Susie's question. Congratulations on the 3rd seasons. I'm so excited with you. Hi, Kinga. I was trying to word a question and I got all tied up in knots. She's like, I have so many ideas, okay? I've messed up royally with money. Oh, well, that's my huge point of view, but really I have. And so I think that I don't deserve to get it. The struggles that I go through are a punishment for all I've done. Karma, you know. So my question is, how can we make a different choice if we still have a point of view that's opposite to it? Like, what do we change first? The point of view that would allow a different choice, or a choice that would allow a different point of view? That is a fucking brilliant question, Susie Genera. Thank you so much. Hi, Katarina. It's nice to see you. Hi, Maxie. Thank you for being such a great and fun contribution in mine and many others' lives, and you're so welcome. I got to meet so many of you live in this class this week, and I'm so grateful for you. I just have to tell you, once I get to hug you in person, there's no going back. Your whole life's gonna be different. My whole life's gonna be different. Okay. So let's go back into her question here. So, are you hiding money with thinking was the topic of the show, okay? So let's start actually with her question, because there's a bunch in here, like I want to go to the bits before it, but I'm going to start with her question. So she goes, my question really is, how can we make a different choice if we still have a point of view that's opposite to it? What do we change first? The point of view that would allow a different choice, or a choice that would allow a different point of view? And it's a brilliant question because the answer is either one, whatever changes it. So here's my point of view about money, about life, about anything, is you want to be and choose whatever it is and whatever it takes to change it for you. It fucking doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you use a tool like interesting point of view. I have this point of view for every single thought, every single feeling, every single emotion around money for the next 3 days, for the next 6 months. Or you simply go, I don't really care what the fuck this takes, I'm going to change it. Either one of those choices is going to change it, because that's actually the secret weapon. Choice is the tool that changes everything. So all the tools of access consciousness, no matter what it is that I talk about, no matter what clearing I throw out there, no matter what tool I suggest to use, all of them are to get you to a space where you have another choice. Now, the thing that I find around money is it's one of the areas where we tend to disempower ourselves a lot. It's one of those areas where we tend to go into victimhood, we tend to go into problem, we tend to go into I can't, we tend to go, and you know, I've been looking at that, I look at that constantly, especially because I do so much facilitating. Hi, Catherine. And I'm always curious about that, but the thing that I keep seeing over and over and over is that it, like Gary Douglas says, it's never a money problem, it's always a being, knowing, perceiving, and receiving problem. I'm going to put that in air quotes. Hi, Anita. So it is never that we can't create or receive money. It's that we're unwilling to be and know and perceive and receive things. And so I'll go back to the story that I didn't tell you at the very beginning of the video with my friend. And she was having a moment where she was just all wrapped up. You could tell she was all tied up in her head around something. And I kind of had a sense of what it was, but I was just sort of poking her about it, because I do that. If you're friends with me, I'll poke you. Because I was like, where are you? Where are you? What are you doing? What's happening? And unless you tell me to back off, and then I will. Poking her, and she, you know, so we got to what it was that she was all tied up in, but literally it was like her brain, her mind, was on a tether into these other people's realities. And until we sort of popped out of it with a question, like, hey, what are you aware of that you haven't acknowledged? Or, hey, whose reality are you in? Which actually does this pattern interrupt thing. Because what we get into all these like patterns of thinking about money, thinking about money. And literally what gets hidden is your capacity for choice and your capacity for awareness. That's what gets hidden with thinking. I'm just going to rise this up a little bit so I can sit up. So just hang on, I'm coming back. So as we acknowledged what was really true, what was really going on, and as she popped out of thinking, she began to be instantly. And you can just tell when somebody pops out of thinking, they begin to be, like, it's so obvious. Like, it's like, it would be, I'll try to show you an example right here. You ready? So I'm going to start thinking really hard. You see, it almost squints my eyes because I actually have to work really hard at it. And now I'm just going to be. If you have any sense of energy at all, and I'm not making you wrong if you couldn't tell the difference there, but when I started to get the difference there, I realized how much of a difference there was. And the thing is, when you're being all of you, when you're not trying to shape yourself based on anybody's point of view, and you're not trying to control what you do or try to figure out the right thing that you do, or not trying to go into all these brain computations about everything, and you're being, you are a total walking invitation to everything and everybody. And all that's left after that is to institute some ways for people to pay you, literally. And that's the choice part of money. But when you're thinking, you actually hide your being. And you hide any possibility of anybody being able to contribute to you, the universe being able to contribute to you, money being able to show up and be able to contribute to you. So the moment you go into thinking, you actually hide your being from money. And as a first, it was so interesting to watch her, because so we were out to lunch, and we were it was beautiful sunny day, like warm. We had just gotten out of class. We were having this amazing food, and my friend was gone. She was gone in her head. And so of course I'm going to poke her a little bit because we're friends and I can. And so I did. And so the moment that she snapped into awareness and started being, I had my friend back. And I just saw it after that. So there's a lot of different tricks and tools, all of the access consciousness tools that you can use to pop yourself out of thinking. But the way you know you're thinking is you're not you and you're not happy, and it's hard. That's how you know you're thinking. You know you're thinking when you are trying to figure things out. You know you're thinking when you are going into computations of like this and then this and then this and then this and then this. That's all thinking. You're trying to act like you're a computer. The thing is, you're not a computer. You're an acoustical, energetic being in a body with a mind, with a brain. But really, the only thing your brain is really good for, and I know some people would disagree with me on this, but what I'd invite you to do is look at the thing of what's light for you is true for you, and what's heavy for you is a lie. So, where was I going with that? Oh, thinking, being, yes. Okay, anyway, I can't remember. So it isn't like, how do I get rid of my mind? Because you can't. It doesn't work like that. Getting rid of things doesn't do the thing. But what does do the thing is when you take what comes into your mind, because let's just say you're not actually a brain on legs. I mean, you can function as one, and I know a lot of us do, because I was definitely a functioning brain on legs, or a mind on legs. So let's say you function like a mind on legs. But a tool like, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, for every single thought, feeling, and emotion that comes into your mind is going to start to create the space for you to be. Now the thing is, we don't have any practice choosing from the space of being. We have a lot of practice like girding ourselves with thinking, girding ourselves with logic, but it is that. It's like girding ourselves with proof, girding ourselves with our stories, right? And the thing about being is when you're being, it's vulnerable. When you're being, you're receiving everything. You're receiving all the information, you're receiving all the sensations, you're receiving all the things, you're just receiving. And we are not invited to be vulnerable. Not in this world. We're invited to protect ourselves and to logic ourselves and to prove ourselves and to conclude ourselves into this limited, contracted position that we're taught to find the position that's right. And so we go after that because we're seekers. We go after that with the force of 1,000 suns. But the thing that it keeps you from is being. And so in being, you can receive everything. You can receive ideas. You can receive contribution from the universe. You can receive gifts and kindness and caring. You can also receive meanness. But then if you're willing to receive meanness, then you can see it. And you can choose something else. But if you're not willing to receive meanness, you can't see it because you're so busy thinking, because you're blah, blah, blah. You're not actually present and able to receive all of the information. So how does this then play out in business and with money? Well, in a lot of different ways. So one of the things that I really recognized this weekend is that I walked into the class, I created going to this class so I could connect with all of you. Like all of you guys in Europe, all of you guys that watch me online, and then all the people that I didn't know. I really actually came to this class to connect. So it was a really different choice for me, and it was really, really cool because I got to actually see how what I'm willing to be in the world now changes people. And it changes people just by what I'm willing to be. Just because I'm like so excited to see you and I'm so grateful you're in the world, and that just melts things. And it didn't require me to be smarter than everybody or more beautiful than everybody or more proving than everybody or a better coach than everybody. It just really required me to walk in and go, hi, wow, I'm so grateful to see you. Wow, you're so beautiful. Wow, thank you so much for being in the world. And that's really, I just played with that all weekend. And this whole trip to Europe has been a lot of firsts for me in that regard. A lot of really just acknowledging what that space and what that choice actually does for other people. And what it has done for me. What the people in my life that have been willing to be that for me and with me have done for me. So this may seem unrelated to money, but what I started to get was the more I was willing to just be me and really like me, the more people could actually choose and be with me or not be with me and make their choices. The more I went in with an agenda, and I've done this so many times with business and money before where I'm connecting with you because I have an agenda. This was just like agendaless. I'm just like, I just want to connect with you. Like, who are you? What are we? What can we create? Like, but from not like a what can we create? Like, let's put together a program, but like just what can we as our beings actually be together? And this conversation, it can sound so fucking theoretical. And I don't know if I would have gotten it. I don't think I got it right at the beginning because I was so locked in my head. But I know I'm sort of going in and around all the tools that you can use, but one of the tools you can do to begin giving yourself the space to be so that actually the universe can contribute what you're asking for is interesting point of view. I have this point of view for every single thought and feeling and emotion that comes through your head for 3 days. And I say this to people all the time and they smile and nod at me and then don't choose it. But what would change if you did? Tool number one. The second tool is truly, truly, truly is hey, listen, what if you're just a psychic radio receiver tower? Like I had someone message me and she's like, oh my God, I'm at the end of my rope, like I'm suicidal and I just don't know what to do and I'm da-da-da. And, like, that's cool. I mean, I've been there, right? I've been there a lot, but at that time I didn't have any tools. And the tools only fucking work if you use them. They only work if you use them. So you can have a set of tools that sit by the side of your bed, but if in those moments where you are going into thinking or you're going into dying or you're going into, you don't use them, if you don't use them, they don't work for you. So it won't matter the toolbox you've got sitting beside your bed if you don't actually pick them up and go, yeah, fuck it. I'm either going to die right now and just choose that, or I'm going to use this. Well, who does this belong to? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? Someone else's. Oh, wait, I get that it's mine. Well, all you have to do, if you ask and you get that it's yours, is pock and pod where you bought it. But you do have to be willing in that moment to have a different choice available. And this is what I find with money, is that the people who have consistent money problems aren't actually willing to have a different choice available. And it's kind of that baffled me for a long time. I think I got really tough around it with people because I didn't get it. I didn't get why you wouldn't want to have a different choice. But now I get that there's just some people that don't want to have a different choice, and those are the people that stay in survival, and those are the people that stay in dying, and those are the people that stay in problems. And this is just one of those things to get really brutally honest with yourself about, and it can seem really brutal, about, do I actually want to have a different choice here? And if I would like to have a different choice here, am I willing to be so aggressively present with myself that I start really knowing what I'm choosing and what I can choose? That takes a measure of courage, because you've got to be willing to really face some things. You've got to be willing to face what you're choosing right now, which could be death and dying and problem. But then you got to also be willing to face a different space that you don't know. Because that's the thing about these access consciousness tools, and that's the thing about being and knowing and perceiving and receiving, is that it isn't theoretical, but it is really unfamiliar. And it's not one of those sets of choices that you're going to see anybody around you really choosing. You might be lucky enough to be surrounded by people that use the access consciousness tools, and they might actually use them. If you're surrounded by those people that actually use the tools, then you are one lucky motherfucker. Because most of the people that I know that really take hold of the tools and use them become so delightful to be around. They become so much more them. They become so much more peace, so much more space. They don't go into the trauma and drama anymore, and they're really willing to go, hey, what is it going to take to have more money? What can I be or choose and have that's different? And those people become willing to actually take up their creative capacity and go, well, what do I have available? I'm on a brand new island. I've got trees, I've got coconuts, I've got, this bamboo looking stuff. I've got things that kind of look like rope, probably vines. I've got all these raw materials on this new island of mine. What can I create? Well, I don't know. What do I want my life to be like? Let's see. Well, I think tonight I'd rather not get rained on. So what can you make that keeps out the rain? And that's the creativity that starts to come alive in your world when you are willing to have another choice. But when you are committed to your problems and you're committed to dying and you're committed to it not being easy, that's what will keep showing up. So that's just something to get really honest with yourself about, like, well, what am I really committed to here? And what could I be committed to that would change this for me? If I were willing to be committed to total awareness, what would that be like? If I were willing to be committed to the awareness of what is possible, the awareness of what is actually true. Guess what? What's actually true is always going to give you a sense of lightness and space and creativity and joy. Anything else is not actually true. So then it's just getting a hold of then the tools that actually empower you to have what's true instead of what's not true. But we don't tend to want to empower ourselves very much with money. And so I'm going to dive into another one of your questions here and see if I can talk a little more about that. Okay, what do we have here? So I talked about Aurelia's question. Roundabout. Carrie sent in a question here. Oh, and this is great, okay? Carrie said, I'm not real clear yet about what goes on unconsciously. Well, that's because it's unconscious. Consciously, I'm thinking that having plenty of money is still outside of me rather than in me. Great one, actually. So here's something I want to talk a little bit about. So if it's true that we're psychic, okay, let's just say for a minute that's true. We'll suspend all the thinking and all the need to prove that. Thank you. Good. So let's just say that it's true that we're psychic, okay? And let's say I'm shivering because there's so much air conditioning. If I open that door, there's so much music. Do you guys want to hear a little music? Can you hear music? Is there some sexy cocktail music going on downstairs? Okay. So, okay, let's say it's true that we're psychic, okay? Now, remember, information that is true is going to make you feel lighter, and information that's not true for you is going to make you feel heavier. So you've just got to look at this for yourself. So you're psychic. Does that make you lighter? Does that make you heavier? Makes me super light. All right, cool. So then if you have a sense, if you have a thought that heaps of money are outside of you, like they're not inside of you, you have no idea how to generate them, you don't even know what your points of view are, you're so unconscious about money, like you don't even know what's happening or how to change it, then what is it that you'd want to cultivate for yourself? Is it that you'd want to cultivate a solution to your money problem? There's that universe. Or is it that you'd want to cultivate the awareness of what it would take to create something different? Which one of those scenarios has more space? I need to find the solution to my money problem. There's that energy. What if I cultivated a space where I had a different choice available with money? There's that energy. Which one of those energies has more space? And this is how you get to start to create your life when you're willing to be an energetic being with awareness. When you need to go into thinking, you hide money from yourself. But when you're willing to start having awareness, which is you starting to perceive the energy of things, then something different can show up. Why? Because you can lead yourself to money. You can't lead yourself to money with thinking. You can lead yourself to money with awareness. But the thing is, we cover up awareness with thinking. So then what could we cultivate that would empower us to lead ourselves to money? Awareness? How do you do that? Well, interesting point of view. I have this point of view for every single thought, feeling, and emotion that's going on will give you a start. Why? Because right now, all of your awareness is covered up with all the thinking. So you're thinking. There is no energy, for the most part, being put into being and knowing and perceiving and receiving, right? That's a new muscle that a lot of us haven't developed yet, including a lot of people that have been in Access for a long time. So we're thinking that, so the first step is to actually begin dealing with all the thinking and going, well, okay, so interesting point of view, I have that point of view. Who does that even belong to, me or someone else? So as you start to use those two tools, for example, space starts to get created. And now you've got a lot of space. And I remember for me in the very beginning, a lot of space was, I didn't know what to do with it. And it didn't feel like anything. It was kind of like, it was like I was moving from swimming in a mud pit with money to like being in the air, just suspended from cables. And I'm like, how do you like do this when you're just suspended in the air? Like, what do you bounce off of? Like, how do you have any reference points? So I didn't know how to create as that. And so I had to start discovering what it was to invite in and be the being that I was, because I was so used to trying to figure out the right way of being, but there is no right way. And so you could never figure it out. That music is so loud. Okay, so I'm not real clear yet, she says, about what goes on unconsciously. Well, I get it, because it's unconscious. But consciously, I'm thinking that having plenty of money is still outside of me rather than me. And so to bring my psychic thing around to this, she says, I'm thinking that having plenty of money is still outside of me rather than me. So is thinking being, knowing, perceiving, or receiving? No, it's thinking. So that's a lot of mad faces. Who's so mad? Who's mad? Show me your mad face. So when you can even listen to yourself when you say that, is like consciously I'm thinking, consciously I'm thinking, consciously I'm thinking. Okay, so that's the first clue that that's not awareness. It's not actually awareness that having plenty of money is outside of you. Well, that's interesting. So then what's really true? So if that's not awareness, what's really true? And that gets to be the adventure of what you get to discover. What's really true about you? What's really true about what you're capable of? What's really true about being able to lead yourself to money? Can you actually perceive the possibilities for more money in your world if you cut off your awareness? No. The only thing you can have when it comes to money is what you know in your brain, in your mind. And the only thing the mind can do is reference things. So it can reference what other people have chosen, or what you've read, or movies you've watched, or other people you've seen. It can reference things, your brain. But your brain can't actually lead you to the possibilities you're capable of and the possibilities that are available to you. And it definitely can't create a reality beyond this reality with total ease, which we're not even talking about on this show. But so how much are you hiding money with thinking? A little bit or a lot? And so let's just go everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pock, all nine shorts, poison, beyonds. And that crazy statement is the clearing statement, and you can go get more info on that if you need more info for your brain at theclearingstatement.com. But the coolest thing about the clearing statement, and a lot of you guys use this tool, is that it doesn't require thinking to work. And that's the thing about energy. Energy doesn't require thinking to work. So I'll go back to my amazing weekend here at the ESB. So my whole target this weekend was just to connect with people and be around them. That's it. That was my whole choice. And so I created that, and I got to see what being actually creates in other people's worlds, and I also got to see how when people chose, and me, when I chose not to be, when I noticed more when, you know, someone was choosing to go into doubt or worry or insecurity or, you know, fear, or because I really walked in with a choice and just my barriers right down and going hi, 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 hi. So I was one big walking high all weekend. So much so that like at the end of class, I'd been that all weekend. I like passed out on a table. I was so like fried and whatever. But so, I mean, because for me, that's a muscle that I'm just starting to develop. And you might already have that muscle, but I'm just starting to choose that more, because I bought the point of view for a really long time that having all of that awareness or being all that I am is going to be too much, or is going to be not received, or is whatever judgments I had about it. And I just literally this weekend just let go of them. I'm like, I don't care. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to be no perceiving. I'm just going to be. And let's see what that creates. So it was so cool to watch what that created, because everybody had the choice to be with it what they were. And some people were totally delighted by it. Some people were totally like exploding from it. Some people were like, it melted their world. Some people got really weird around it. And none of that had anything to do with me. And what I noticed more than anything in regards to money is that choice was one I had not made before, because of what I had decided it would do to people's worlds. And when it comes to money, you've got to be willing to be you. No matter what anybody else thinks about it, no matter how they respond to you, no matter what comes out of their mouths, no matter what comes out of their worlds, no matter what you become aware of in their world, when you show up, you've got to be willing to show up regardless for money to show up. You've got to be willing to show up for you in your life with what you're choosing for money to show up, or it's not going to show up, baby. So you'll always be in this thinking reality trying to figure out how to do it, instead of getting to be all of you and change everybody around you by being all of you and invite them to what it is you're being in the world. Are you actually letting yourself be in the world? Or do you constantly walk out of your house and around other people and cut yourself off because of all the things you perceive in their worlds, because of what the level of receiving of you or anything that they have in their worlds? Do you cut yourself off from being? Man, the only way money can show up in your world is when you're willing to be that. And so that I'm circling back around to the beginning of the show where I'm talking about the basic, not so basic tools that you can start to use to get yourself out of the thinking into being. Because once you're willing to be you, everything is possible. Why? Because I'm no longer afraid now to talk to people. I'm no longer afraid to ask, hey, would you like to do this with me? Like, I'm no longer afraid to invite. I'm no longer using fear as a thing to hide behind. I'm just being all of me, and it's creating all kinds of havoc. And that's the thing that being does. It creates all kinds of havoc. You know, walking out in the streets of France as me is hilarious, because French people, as a rule, and all of you French people will know this if you've used the tools for any length of time, but in general, French people are allowed to look sexy, listen to sexy music, eat sexy food, but they're not allowed to have any of that energy in their body. They have to be cool, whatever that is. And I walk out as me, and I'm like happy and smiling and like, you know, this energy. And so I become this algorithm interrupt in people's worlds. And so there's all kinds of judgments that come up, judgments of me, judgments of other people, of themselves, everything, all the cultural judgment, all the positive judgments, all of them. So can money show up in my world if I make any of that relevant? Yes or no? No. So, because I'll shut myself down if I make that relevant. I'll stop being the gift that I am. I'll stop being the chatty thing that I am. I'll stop being the brightness that I am. Why? Because I've made those judgments relevant. And so now the money can't reach me, because now I'm into thinking and, you know, the thinking and feeling and emoting reality, which is this reality. So now I've cut off all the possibilities for all receiving, all being, all perceiving, all knowing. Money can't show up to that party. It's not a party anymore. That's a you making yourself wrong party. And so are you cutting off money with thinking? Okay, I have one more. Oh gosh, it's past 7:30. Oh, I'm sorry. So I clearly could keep talking about this for an hour. So anyway, you guys, if you go to my website, ChrystelJoyCrawford.com, we're going to do a 10-part call series on all this and so much more. You can go check it out. There's 10 different topics, and I'm doing actually a clearing call and a masterclass around each topic, and I'm so excited about it. And we're going to change the date to start on Friday, so you can still sign up. But if you got anything out of this conversation and you'd share it with your friends, I'd be really grateful. I get that this is a big conversation. So start using what are considered the basic tools, but grab onto them as if your life depends on it, because it does. And the world doesn't get to have you, and you don't get to have money when you don't grab onto those tools and actually really use them to create a different space for yourself. I adore you. I'm so grateful for you. I'm going to go out into Lyon, get my party on, and then I will see you guys next week. I'm going to Paris next, and the next show that I do will be the very first day of Talk to the Entities advanced training. And so I have no idea what we will be talking about, but it's going to be good.